interest of time, we are going to expedite switching from this panel to our next panel as I introduce our Centers of Excellence representatives as they come on stage. So we're going to seamlessly do this. Dr. Watkins and Dr. German are going to seamlessly exit, and our Centers of Excellence are going to come on up. So first, the clicker. First, we have Dr. Natalia Vasquez Manjarez from the National Institute of Nutrition and Medical Sciences, Salvador Subirán. Then we have Dr. Andrés Jaramillo Botero from the Pontificia Universidad Javeriana, who is also located in Latin America. We also have Dr. Nadine Sichanong from Mahidol University, who is representing our Asia Center of Excellence. We have Dr. Vincent Lal from the University of South Pacific, Fiji, representing Oceania Center of Excellence. And Dr. Robert Hall from Wageningen University and Research, representing our European Center of Excellence. So each of these researchers are representing a geographical region as a center of excellence. And as Steve mentioned, we are soon going to be able to start transferring the methods that we are developing at the PTFI to their labs to not only validate the technology, but also to start doing demonstration projects and showcasing the value and the potential of the PTFI. So each of these members will have 3 minutes or so to answer the question that I'm going to present to each of them. It's the same for each participant. How does the PTFI's global approach to foodomics bring opportunities to you and your lab? And we will start with Dr. Robert Hall at the end there.
Thank you, Tracy. Is the microphone working?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I'm extremely delighted and, in fact, excited to be part of this project. And I think for Wageningen, it's very clear that we have multiple opportunities to support this project and to contribute to this project. And I think, I was thinking actually earlier today, I had to start preparing a presentation for a talk I have to give immediately when I get back. And I included in that presentation our new, or not so new, but it's our latest mission statement. And I think with this mission statement, we have a perfect match with the PTFI, because our mission statement at the moment is exploring the potential of nature to improve the quality of life. That's the Wageningen UR statement at the moment, and there's a sub-statement to that, which is finding answers together, because we recognize that we can't do everything on our own. And we have to link up with other people, and that's exactly a metaphor for what PTFI is planning to do. So I think for us, it's very clear that that we can make a very good and perfect contribution for the match in terms of what we're trying to do, what we want to do, will be, I think, extremely successful. I think I'm an analytical scientist, but I also represent a lot of nutritional scientists who will also be involved in this project. And I think that Wageningen, if you're not familiar with our organization, we went through a mini revolution about 15 years ago when all the main national research institutes in the Netherlands joined together and united with the Wageningen University, which is the agricultural university in the Netherlands. So we have about 6,000 people covering all aspects of agricultural science. And I think that that multidisciplinarity also reflects what is going to happen within this project. And I think maybe it's important to point out that the database, which we're all going to make, is just a starting point. It's what we do with the database which is really important. So linking up to other groups outside of the analytical sphere, for us, is just as important as it is for the project itself.
Wonderful, thank you. Dr. Lal?
Thank you. I come from a region of Oceania, so I'm representing the University of the South Pacific, which is co-funded and managed by 12 Pacific Island countries. So I speak on behalf of many Pacific Island countries as well. And as the Oceania Center for PTFI, I also speak on behalf of my collaborating partner university, which is the University of Adelaide, in this initiative. One of the things that I would bring to the attention from this panel is the benefits that will come out to regional foods and underutilized foods that for that part of the world makes a big difference, I think. And this is where PTFI initiative will bring out information or assist many regional people, I think, to understand the food better, food that has in the past really helped them survive in those difficult, isolated regions of the world, but are forgotten or have been underutilized due to the infiltration of food that we all know and consume every day. So due to the pandemic situation, this is a perfect timing, I think, when we found in that part of the world how supply chain issues can influence food security, nutrition security, and people went back to traditional food. And they found that they meet their nutritional requirements from those foods. So I think, things like access and benefit sharing initiatives that can bring out information to empower communities in those parts of the world about their food, and how the nutritional information that is locked away in traditional knowledge can be brought out to the rest of the world. And not only will it empower communities in those regions to understand the food better, but I think it can be shared in everyone's kitchen around the world.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Lal. Dr. C. Chumnong? Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So first, I'd like to thank you very much for having me here tonight. I feel very honored to be part of the Food and Nutrition Revolutionary System. So the question is about how our IMU, or Institute of Nutrition, will be impact or benefit from being SI and Center of Excellence, and also the impact on PTFI on our lab. So I'd like to integrate those two questions and answering them in one context. So IMU is representing Mahidol University in this regard. The assignment align and support with our strategic goal as to be a resource center in food and nutrition for Thai and also for Southeast Asian country. So this opportunity will advance and also support the core activity of our institute and in relation to food database, especially on Thai and also in Asian food, and also the extension on indigenous food item, which is part of our biodiversity, and also dietary pattern. The huge benefit will also go to capacity development. So for IMU, like Mahidol University and also our partner, for example, there can be strengthening of human resources and also leadership and standardization of method for foodomic analysis, and also setting up a QC system for the reference international lab and also among our Center of Excellence partner. In the past few years, we have been enjoying helping or working together with our existing network of food lab in Thailand, also in Southeast Asian country as well. So we believe that being assigned as Center of Excellence, we can help them strengthen their capacity and also to support our further collaboration within our member countries and beyond. And lastly, I think there's an opportunity for us to advocate and also communicate the data to relevant stakeholders for decision making to improve the food, nutrition, and sustainability. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Dr. Haramio Botero.
Well, hello. First of all, thank you to Rockefeller and to everybody involved in organizing this event. So I come from a background in physical chemistry and physics, and just to give an analogy of why this is hugely important for everybody, is the fact that the periodic table of elements has about 118 elements. Out of those, about 50 or half of that total amount is what our bodies use. And every property of every material, be it biological, be it synthetic, or whatever you can find in the universe, is made out of those 118 elements. And if you think about it, it's just about structure and composition. What are the atoms involved in that structure? So if we can find a new alphabet to actually produce food out of those many available atoms, we should be able to produce food out of waste. And we should be able to really, really be able to hone in on what nutrition is for humans. So I think part of what is really exciting about this PTF5 effort is, again, we've been working on the idea of how to manipulate matter in the US for the past 20 years. 4 years ago, we decided to set up a lab or a research effort in Colombia in agriculture. And that effort actually is divided in two portions. One is how to breed new varieties, crops, in a way that is more sustainable for the environment and in a way that is more focused on what we need to get out of the plants. And the other effort is focused on how do we extract from these plants phytomedicines and actually compounds that we can consume directly in a way that is still healthy for us. So again, this PTFI effort, which is a global effort, is precisely within the lines of what we need to do now, and that is jumping from phytochemicals and understanding phytochemicals, phytonutrients, phytomedicines to produce a better world for us, a better quality of life for everyone, and converge on the same language, which I think is a big issue. Right now, we're working from different disciplines. How do we focus on something that we can talk about and still understand, even though we're coming from physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, whatever discipline it is, food is a baseline. We all understand what food needs to do, and what we need to do as scientists is try to find that new alphabet. So that's why I'm really excited about this.
Wonderful. Great. And finally, Dr. Vasquez Manjarres.
Okay, so I think, first of all, PTFI is an excellent example of what a global objective can do and what it will happen if we could all just work together towards a mutual objective, which in this case, what brings us all together is, of course, food and all its composition and its quality. On the other hand, I would just bring up the idea that by understanding quite well what is food composition, we will be able to understand better which is the association that we take or the association that we have between diet and different health outcomes, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, different cases of dyslipidemia, and so on, that are diseases that are highly prevalent in most of our countries. By studying better the food composition and knowing exactly what is it, not only that is in the food, but by applying all this high throughput technology into the study of serum, urine, feces, and so on, we might be able as well to see the reflection of what is the food composition on this, and by that, create and obtain of these dietary biomarkers, which will be absolutely important in getting closer to what is it that people are actually eating. And by that, create more robust and important associations between what is it that is in our food that is making us sick.
Wonderful. Thank you so much to all of our Centers of Excellence representatives. I'm going to invite our last speaker up to the podium, Dr. Jessica Prenny from Colorado State University, who serves as our central lab for the PTFI, who's going to give some closing remarks on the technology. And then we will end the evening with back with our host, Greg Mandel.
Thanks so much, Tracy. So I'll start by saying, as Steve said, I'm honored to be here, but I'm also really grateful to be here because this is just the most fun and inspiring project that I've ever been a part of. And I am an analytical chemist by training, so one of the folks kind of behind the magic curtain, if you will, in this project. But I truly feel like this is game-changing technology. Like really, this is big from my approach, or from my perspective as an analytical chemist and someone who does research for a living. And as Steve also mentioned, the actual technology that we're using isn't in itself, groundbreaking technology, right? This is something that we have. Like people are doing this in this lab over here, and this lab over here, and this lab over here. But what's really innovative about this approach and what's really the game-changing part is the standardization, right? So the way that we're going about the standardization of the methods and enabling the ability to transfer these methods all over the world so that Lab A can generate results that can be compared with Lab B and Lab C. And we can all generate the same results, and we can all utilize those results and compare them with each other. And so what this means is not only will we be able to answer all of these great questions that have and issues that have come up, but from a pure research point of view, right, we're elevating the value or the significance of all this data that we're generating, that's being generated right now. You know, that now that data doesn't just go into a public repository that has no standardization associated with it and a paper in the scientific literature. That data now goes into this very accessible, standardized database that will answer the specific scientific question of that paper, but also can then be there for someone to mine in the future or compare with this other set of data that was generated across the world. And so ultimately what the PTFI is building is a toolbox, right? We're building this toolbox that's going to enable global participation in this science and building this database. And it's going to enable global participation to generate the data, but also to utilize the data. And then as I was explaining to some of my new friends that I met in the audience there, as we were bonding over those really interesting hors d'oeuvres and trying to figure out what they were, I said, you know, what we're really doing here, at least at the beginning, is we're building this inspirational database, right? So this is the beginning of that map. And once we have the beginning of this, then this lab over here is going to say, I really want to understand, like, what is in this stuff that we normally throw away, like the plantain peels. Like, who would have thought, right? And now we can go and we can study that, and then we can put that data into the database, and then someone else can use that data. And so I just believe that it's going to start its momentum and a movement that is going to change everything, as we've all said. So thank you very much.